Shalom Akim. First and foremost, I want to give all praises to the Most High Power, Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Kadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and salutation to all the Akim out there that's doing the work in sincerity and charity with humiliation. All across the four winds, to you I salute. This is Brother Yahshua Amma from the GMS Bahamas Camp. I'll get you with a brief spiritual hydration. I was having a conversation the other day, with a special friend. And, I asked them, well, what's on your mind? And they replied, what are you willing to do for your salvation? And when I thought on it, I say, man, that would make a really heavy lesson when you think about it. Because what are you willing to do for your salvation? Right? We know the scripture says in Ecclesiastes 12 and 13, let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear Yahweh and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. Right? Our duty is to fear the Most High and keep his commandments. But are you willing to do that? When we go into the book of Matthew chapter 10 and 22, it says, and ye shall be hated of all men for my name's sake. But he that endureth to the end shall be saved. Are you willing to be hated? Are you willing to endure to the end for your salvation? Are you willing to be laughed at, scoffed at, possibly martyred, rejected by your family, rejected by your friends, rejected by your loved ones? Are you willing to do that for your salvation? I asked one of the Akim the other day, they say, wait, what are you willing to do for your salvation? And they went through and they list, the different things. And that's when the Spirit, hit me. So I told them, I say, man, you see all that what you said just now? All that could be incorporated, all that could be summed up into one thing. Because the scripture says, be a few words incorporating much in a little, right? When you think about all these things that a person say they be willing to do, you could achieve all of that just by simply having faith. That's it. It's that simple. When you think back on the question, what are you willing to do for your salvation? Are you willing to have faith for your salvation? When you have faith, until the end, you enduring hardship. When you have faith, you keeping the commandments, you fearing the Most High. When you have faith, your diet will change. When you have faith, you are willing to put off or kill off the old man who you was and put on the new man. It takes faith to put on the whole armor of the Most High, from the breastplate to the shield to the sword to the girdle to the boots to the helmet. It takes faith to be able to wear that armor. All these things requires faith. Now when we think about your average Christian these days, or your average Jake, they say they love the Lord with their lips, but their heart far from him. They say they have faith, but yet at the first instance of trouble, they buckle. They say they want the truth, but when they hear the truth, they reject it. They say they want a prophet. They say they believe in the word of the Most High, but when they hear the words of the Most High from the prophets, they reject it. They laugh and they scoff. They put their trust in their enemy. The scripture says, never trust thy enemy, for just as iron rusted. Paraphrasing so elite. And when you think on this scripture here in Jeremiah chapter 13 and 23, it says, can the Ethiopian change his skin, or the leopard his spots? Then may ye also do good that are accustomed to do evil. So if you know your enemy is accustomed to doing evil, how you could expect him to change? If you know Your enemy has been killing you all these years. And now they come back and say, well, they want to give you something to so-called save your life. Y'all would trust them. But yet y'all say y'all believe in the Most High. Y'all ain't willing to have faith for your salvation. Y'all ain't willing to fight. You know, y'all lying. Y'all a bunch of freaking liars. You know? Let's get another one, right? Well, they draw nigh to the Most High, but their heart is far from Him, right? Even in the times we're in now, right? If y'all buckle over the first instance or the first setup of what's going on, imagine when the Charagma comes up. Already buckle. This Jeremiah 12:5, it says, if thou hast run with footmen and they have wearied thee, then how canst thou contend with horses? You see that? If you're buckling off the smallest instance, what can happen when the heat really turn up? If you're buckling, there's a food shortage. If you're buckling with that, when it ain't even that intense yet, imagine when there's really a shortage, when there's no fuel, when there's no light. What y'all can do then? Let's read on the scripture. And if in the land of peace, wherein thou trusted, they wearied thee, then how wouldst thou do in the swelling of Jordan? When things easy right now. You know, no matter how bad it may seem right now, things are really easy compared to what it's going to be. Imagine when it really get worse. Then what? If you ain't willing to have faith, or if you ain't willing to do all you can do for your salvation now that things are easy, imagine when things get hard. It's something to think about, eh? But you see, the scripture says, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. Let's get that scripture. I love that scripture. Hosea chapter 4 and 6. So this is the book of Hosea chapter 4 and 6. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. Because thou hast rejected knowledge, I will also reject thee. That thou shalt be no priest to me. Seeing thou hast forgotten the law of thy power, I will also forget thy children. You see what the Most High say? Y'all reject the knowledge. And because y'all reject the knowledge, He will reject y'all. Y'all don't have no faith. Because y'all refuse to have faith, y'all will not be saved. Y'all will not have salvation if you don't have faith. You see? These days now the Christians don't say they saved. What the hell are you saved from? From what? You still in bondage. You still paying bills. You still have to get up every morning to go to work. You still go into those harlot houses letting them pastors whisper all type of nasty so-called sweet things in your ears, and you're giving them your money. You know, pastors like D.D. Jakes, Gino Jennings, you know, over here, Bishop Lawrence Road. You know, all them false prophets. All them is people who just whispering things into your ears. But y'all refuse to hear the words of the Most High Power. Y'all refuse to turn back to Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. You know? You see, what are you willing to do for your salvation? What are you willing to do for my salvation? Willing to have faith. Willing to endure all the hardships, you know? The Spirit, I pray that the Most High take the Spirit away from me every day. I pray the Most High continue to guide and protect the Hakim out there that's doing the work. All we could do is pray and have faith, because we coming into times now that's the only thing that will be able to save us. You know, like the scriptures say, if y'all buckling over the things, over the easy things, imagine when the real test start. You know, the Hakim did a lesson the other day, going into spiritual powers. You won't receive no spiritual powers unless you have faith. You think when Moses was parting the Red Sea, he was wavering in his faith? No, his faith was firm. His faith was firm in order to do that. You know, You think when Samson lost his strength and he prayed to the Most High to return his strength to bring down the temple, he had faith to do that? You think when David went out on the battlefield, he just went out on the battlefield willy-nilly? No. His faith brought him through that. And you have to, in these times that we're in now, you have to have faith in order to have salvation. Ain't no other way. Ain't no way around it. It is what it is. Because if you don't believe, how would you achieve? And it's that simple. You know, but Akim, coming up into them times now, I pray the Most High continue to guide and protect us in everything we say and do, in the physical, the mental, the spiritual, and the emotional. Be safe out there and continue to gird up their loins as a man. Because only men can make it in these times. You see? These women out there, they come a dime a dozen. You know, right now they playing bougie because pressure ain't hit them, but it can come a time when it will. I often ask people, you know, particularly when I have this conversation with women, I ask them, the only thing stopping a man from taking what he wants to take from you is the system we live in. But what happens when anarchy happens? When lawlessness happens, you can't stop a man from taking anything. You can't physically stop him at all. So a woman who is by herself, or even two women who are together, they really can't stop no man from taking what they want. But a woman who has a man in the household, who has a husband in the household, they stand a better chance. Who has a real man in the household? Now these are feminine so-called things what they have these days. You know, don't lose the order of things. Continue to trust in the Most High, continue to trust the process, continue to have faith. With that, I want to give all praises to the Most High Power, Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushai, Hashem, Kakadash, Shalom, and the God